Good evening, Wilberforcians, my friends. Welcome again back to our Wilberforce Alums podcast, episode number 4. Remember, as you view, please hit subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear. Our objective here is to try to push the brand of Wilberforce University as well as Wilberforce University Alumni Association, giving you information about what's going on at the university as well as what we're doing as the Alumni Association and some of the people who are involved with the association in a leadership role. And so as it relates to that, we're going to be visiting today with the chairman of the membership committee of the Wilberforce University Alumni Association, and that is Jerry Quinn Sr., graduate of Wilberforce University, class of 1989, and also a U.S. Army veteran like myself. So at this point, we'd like to welcome Jerry Quinn. Welcome to episode 4 of the Wilberforce Alums podcast.
Well, I thank you, sir.
What we're going to do is start off, man, before we get into kind of the heavy dialogue as relates to your responsibilities as chairman. Why don't you just give us a little background information as to who you are, what got you to Wilberforce, and what your career path looked like as it relates to leaving Wilberforce. So why don't we start there first?
Well, good evening, everyone, and good evening to you, President Stafford. First of all, I thank you for having me here on this evening. Just one little correction: I'm not a senior, so I do have a son, but I don't have any juniors.
All right.
So,
all right.
However,
noted. Well noted.
Well noted. So, my start to come to the illustrious halls and grounds of Wilberforce University started back in 1983, when I was approached by a recruiter that came to Saginaw High School in Saginaw, Michigan, where I'm from. And we had an extensive conversation. I was approached by several other HBCUs, but Wilberforce was the one that enlightened my desire to attend my post-secondary college education. So what happened, my English teacher, which is actually Sharon Wilson at the time, now is Sharon Floyd, who's a graduate of Wilberforce University, talked to me, approached me, gave me good guidance, and I walked on the grounds in August of 1984. Majored there in BS in finance, graduated in 1989. Through my structure there, my goal was to join the military right after graduation, and I did that. Listened to the United States Army, did 26 years, retired back in 2016, and the rank of Master Sergeant. And that was a good experience for me, leaving for Wilberforce University and then going into the military, because those skill sets that I learned at Wilberforce University advanced me well, and I'm still using them to this day. I'm right now an active military civilian, working for the United States Army financial management analyst. So doing well in that structure, in that type of profession as well.
Well, thanks, Jerry, and thanks for your service. I certainly like to visit and chat with a fellow veteran, and so right. We just want to say thank you for your service and continue to work hard and strong, using that military background and structure at Wilberforce University and the Alumni Association, which you have done as chairman of the membership committee. So when you got to Wilberforce, I mean, did you know much about Wilberforce other than the influence that you received back in Saginaw?
Well, it's kind of funny you say that. So my father, who also is was a Baptist minister, a pastor of a church. I'm a preacher's kid, and his mentor was Reverend J.P. Wilson, who at the time was a moderator of the state of Michigan for the National Baptist Association of Missionary Baptist Churches there in the state of Michigan. So he went to Payne Theological Seminary.
Oh, okay.
And his daughter, which is Sharon, went to Wilberforce. So his influence in talking to him is just see how people advance to interact with other people, you know, especially during that time, and then seeing as a admirer, as a mentor to my father. It was actually a great reason to go to Wilberforce University. Gotcha. And then also too, the other thing that nailed it was my mother said, I don't want you going that far because I need to get to you in a day. So that was
I heard that.
that was
Heard.
the main reason. After
Well,
that, all that.
well, what did your mother say when you enlisted into the military?
Well, she already knew that. So I
Okay,
actually told my father and my mother my plans prior to graduating from high school. So I told them, I'm going to college, I'm going to graduate, and I'm going to the military. That was my goal. And I stuck with it. And I am grateful that I stayed with those plans.
gotcha. That's super. So tell me, I'd be remiss as a Army veteran myself if I didn't ask you a little bit about your military career. Like, where'd you do your basic, and where were some of the places that you actually were stationed?
I plenty of time there. Then yes,
Go ahead.
after leaving Fort Irwin, went to Fort Stewart, Georgia, did some time there. And while I was there, my basic training, my AIT, prior to all that, whatever to say, um, I went to AIT for finance, actually for administrative specialist. And after I left there, I went to finance school. So I went to finance school for the military, and then I became a finance non-commissioned officer. Leave from actually Fort Stewart, went to Germany for a few years, and then got deployed to Bosnia and Herzegovina and Lukovac, all those great places
Yeah,
that you
right,
really don't want to go to.
right.
And then came back to Germany and then went to the great place, as they say in the military, Fort Hood, Texas.
Oh boy, yeah. There's been a lot of talk about Fort here recently. Look,
Yes,
so
it
tell
has.
me, tell me, uh, what brought you to become a member of the Alumni Association, since you're a member of the board and have been for several years now? What caused that?
So I believe there's a lot of members that member part of the members of the association probably had some of the same experience that I had, and not to say from the previous decades of the members of the association. I walked on campus back in 2016 after it was a good year, but a sad year too. I buried my mother that year,
I'm sorry.
and I retired from the military, and I said, let me go to the campus. Went to the campus, and some things I saw I liked, and some things I saw that I disliked. So as we know, just in our structure, that's from being a Wilberforce University, I ain't gonna say just the military, is that if you don't like something the way it looks, you get involved and you have to make the change. You just can't talk from the sideline. So at that particular time, that enlightened me at that point, and I joined the association right after that.
Hey, that's perfect. That's good. That's a good point you just made, because you know, the point that we're in here in this environment we're currently in with COVID-19 and protesting going on across the world actually right now, during the talking about racism, etc., and Wilberforce in some difficult positions. It's going to cause it's a need for alums to step up to the plate and say, we got to take care of our own, because nobody else is, and we can't really expect anybody else to do that for us. Wilberforce University is ours. It belongs to us. Those of us who walk through the doors of either the Shorter Hall or Ireland Hall or Emory Hall or the new men's and new women's dorm, that's what it was called back when I was there, or through the science building even. It's up to us. And, a lot of us, we talk about, well, I had a bad experience, and that's why I'm not supporting the university. Hey, that's history. If you got a degree, you walk through those doors and you got that degree as you walked across, the stage. Wilberforce is your legacy. It's part of your legacy. And it's up
That's
to
correct.
us to take care of it. And if we don't, nobody else will. And so we all need to step up. Alums need to step up, can continue to do what we're doing, give as much as we can, because right now it's on us to take care of our university. And it's a matter of building our brand, not letting anybody
Correct.
talk about our brand. Anytime, we hear someone, trashing Wilberforce University, we need to say, hey, man, no, that's not it. That's not what we're about. We're about being positive about all things coming through the doors of Wilberforce University. And that's a good point that you made, because that's where we need to be as alums right now, is taking care of our university. So that's my segue to lead into you as the chairman of the membership committee. Talk to us about that and what you have planned for the Alumni Association, even as it relates to the university. But talk to us about that.
Well, we have a couple of things, and when I took over from the my predecessor being the chair of the membership committee, she approached me, and I was on the committee at that particular time. Is that when she passed the torch over to me, I said, well, my thought process and vision was to put it into three segments: recruit, reclaim, and retain. And I'm gonna stay with that until it's said and done on my tenure. So we have to recruit, and to do that, it's in several kind of different, say, let's say, avenues of approach to say. So we have to look at from um, the young alumni that's actually graduating right now. How do we bring them back into the fold? How do we take graduates from the 1990s, the 1980s, and the 1970s, the those that's been around for a while, that how we get them to come back to it? And then also, with that being said, is that when we have all that said and done, how do we retain them? How do we keep them? And so our campaign we have is that, like we said, we put on the membership committee. If you look at the membership webpage under the WAA, is that we have 10 reasons why we try to keep you to stay with the association, because we need you. Without you, we don't have an association. So our goal is to, one, is to keep our alumni informed. I think we do a pretty good job with that, especially with the chapter president's call, and then bring out to their constituents reference to the alumni members. And then also we have alumni members that, alumni that are not members that receive emails and communications throughout the process, so they stay informed. So our goal also too is actually go out and recruit them. So we have collaborated with the communications committee to identify those and see if we can reach out to them to get them to bring them into our association, our beloved association, which takes care of the university. So the more you have, that's the more giving you can give. That's the more scholarships you can do. That's the more networking you can do. That's the more ask for job opportunities. That's more get you involved reference to you can support in partnership with co-op opportunities with the university that they're pushing so highly right now. So my part as for being the chair is that looking at it from a broader perspective, not just a narrow one, and see if we can bring those to the fold that we have, the numbers we have. And of course, we know that this epidemic lifestyle that we're living in right now is changing a lot of different things. So a lot of people's mindsets are a little bit different about, work, um, fellowshipping, being around each other, what are their life goals. And so we still have to communicate with them that we understand the plight of the state of the United States. However, Wilberforce University still stands, and they need us to keep it that way.
Right
So
on.
that's where we're looking at, and that's what our goals are. And I have some multiple alums that work on the committee. We have some I call them some star players that's on the committee, and they've been working well with me. And I have to give all the members of the committee gratitude and my applaud them for supporting me and working with me.
Super. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, Jerry, because, the role you play is as you know, and as the board knows as well, is a critical role for the association, because through alumni membership is the way we're able to fund a lot of the things we do relative to supporting the university, as you've already mentioned, in scholarships and fundraisers and other things that the university requires us. Recruiting. Which chapters of the Alumni Association participate in yearly, and more often than that, whenever opportunity we
Correct.
see as alums, we're participating in recruiting. And having said that, it reminds me of the fact too of something I didn't mention, which is that you are the president of the alumni chapter of Wilberforce University Alumni Association. So, man, you're wearing about 2 or 3 hats for the association, because I also know you're on the committee for the budget finance. So, man,
Right.
you're doing 1,000. You're not doing 100. You're doing 1,000, man. And I certainly appreciate it as the new president of the Wilberforce University Alumni Association. But it's critical, because when you talk about being a member, the question that's often asked is, what do you do? with the dues. And the dues annually, if you're not a life member, which I'll let you talk about that, but it's just $50 a year. And so what we use that for is to help fund a lot of the activities and the things that we do as an association, which is, scholarships and fundraising and so on and so forth. The other main fundraiser, of course, is our conference every year, our annual conference, which in 2020 we had to cancel due to this pandemic, COVID-19, which, it has made us a little tighter as it relates to our budget, but also puts a little bit more of the pressure on our membership and getting folk to become members. And one of the things, and you mentioned this relative to getting the message out about what we do and how we do, is to get that message out via all of those platforms that you mentioned, through the website and now the podcast, and so often we're asked, well, what's the address for the website? So we need to make certain that we give that out, and I brought it here. I hope you all can see that. It's www.wilberforceuniversityalumni.com. That's the Alumni Association's website, where you can get any information that you need regarding the Alumni Association as well as the university. So write that down: www.wilberforceuniversityalumni.com.
Very good.
So let me get back here. I had a little glitch in my hardware, which happens from time to time. So that's what we're all about. So Jake, what's the size of our membership now in the Alumni Association?
Well, right now we're looking at a total of 609 members right now. And on our annual membership, we have 99. Subscribing life, 64. Life members is 323. And our platinum members are 123. Now, the cost as for membership, once you go to that website that the president has just listed, there's a membership link, and you click on the link and it will draw you into, either you can download the application paper and send it in, mail it in, or you can go online to the link and join via the website. Now, for annual membership, I believe it's $50 for your annual membership. Subscribing life is basically, when you start off, it's the installments of payments of cost of $150. But to become a life member, I believe is come to $750. To come to the platinum membership status, you have paid the $250. That will make you $1,000 altogether between your life and platinum combined to become platinum. Now, to say that with the cost of what you receive is that, for one thing, is that your financial donation for your dues and your membership, it makes the association more flexible and makes it more provide more opportunity to do certain things. Now, a lot of people ask, okay, what do you get with your money that you pay, right? So the annual membership is that you get your membership with the association. Of course, you'll continue with the communication that come from the company association, to include the fact that you get your membership card, and also that you're entitled to be a voting member when it comes to the annual conference and things of that nature. Any other actual thing that's actually under the constitution and bylaws of the association. Now, the joy of becoming a status to any 4 of these type of categories is pretty much is that you are being part of the solution. And that's the biggest thing you can get. Of course, you get your pin, you get a medallion, things of that nature when you become a life and platinum member. But nevertheless, I believe is just the gratitude you just supporting your university, because we all know that once you went through your commencement and your graduate ceremonies and put that cap on and then switch that tassel over and receive your degree, it made life a lot more easier for you. And you understand the struggle when you start meeting your colleagues in certain other professions and certain networks, that, it's different than having a Wilberforce degree compared to other degrees that you may see in college that you may speak with. We're not bragging, but it's just a certain fact that we all know that we're proud of what we earned and what we went through to earn our degree at Wilberforce University.
Amen.
So that's in the process with that.
That's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, Wilberforceans, we're visiting today with Jerry Quinn, the chairman of the membership committee of Wilberforce University Alumni Association, as well as the president of the Indianapolis chapter of Wilberforce University Alumni Association, Jerry Quinn. And again, we're glad to have him to sit down and talk us through his role as the chairman of the membership committee. Now, he mentioned one thing, and I'll have to circle back around and highlight this, because he said we have 609 total members. Is that right, Jerry? Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how many people have actually passed through the doors and received that degree from Wilberforce University?
Well, actual number so this is another social media platform, actually the networking platform I'm working with right now. That's only 4,500 members that have a degree or some type of education, Wilberforce University on LinkedIn right now.
Okay, so I don't have to say anything other than that. The numbers speak, as they say, the facts speak for themselves. 4,000 folk have passed through the doors of Wilberforce University, and we have 609 members. Alums, we need to, we can do better than that. It's up to us. We have got to do better than that, especially in this time where Wilberforce needs us, and they need us now. And, we need to just rally around, the fountain, if you will, and support the university in its time of need. We have to keep hope alive on the campus of Wilberforce University. I mean, it's up to us, nobody else. This is where the buck stops. And that's why, Jerry's working hard to bring in members to the university Alumni Association, as well as students, because one of the things we do, and I mentioned this, briefly, is recruit, and the association helps to fund recruiting material for the university, for the chapters, the 26 chapters across the country, to go out and recruit students to the university. And so that's how we use the funds that's one of the ways we use the funds from the membership dues, as well as from revenue received from conferences, etc. And then usually too, every year we give a pretty good sum of money as an association to the university. So where we're at today is, folks, we need you, and we need you now. And so as they say, don't leave us hanging. We got to keep hope alive at Wilberforce University. So we're about out of time. So, Jerry, in parting, anything you'd like to leave with those who are tuned in and listening to the podcast?
So my wish is that you do two things. One, stay prayerful, that you keep your faith. And then number two is that if you know of a friend that walked the hall of Wilberforce University, and they're not a member, have them go to the website and also join a chapter that's in your area. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jerry. Once again, we have been speaking and talking with Jerry Quinn, the chairman of the Wilberforce University Alumni Association Membership Committee, as well as the president of the Indianapolis chapter. So we're at the end for this episode 4 of our podcast. Remember this: subscribe and give us a thumbs up. And once you subscribe, you'll always be notified as to when our next podcast is about to air. In addition, pass it on. Pass it on to other alums or friends who we can make aware of what's happening on the campus of Wilberforce University, if for no other reason, to build the awareness of our brand, Wilberforce University Alumni Association. That is what's critical today. We've got to build our brand, and if we don't do it, Nobody else will. So that when we call out the name, and when we're asked, where did you receive your degree? And we say, Wilberforce University, folk will know what we're talking about. So at this point, thanks again for hanging in there with us for episode 4. We appreciate it. And stay tuned to the next episode when we come again to you on Wilberforce Alums podcast. Keep hope alive. Thank you so much.